Well, hey Grace, thanks for joining me tonight for a bit of a yarn. It's nice to catch up with old friends from the past, a blast from the past. Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks, Brady. Awesome to have a chat.
Yeah, you're on the podcast. We're doing this via Zoom. I'm kind of bowling through these episodes, but it's nice to get the opportunity to hear about your story. Firstly, I think we should all start with the first question on everyone's mind at the moment. How's isolation going, and what's changed, and what have you learnt so far, I guess?
Yeah, well, it's certainly a different world at the moment than what it was probably 6 months ago. But isolation's been pretty good for me. I've been doing the ALPG PGA bridging course at the
Mhm.
moment, so I've had plenty of time to do some assignments and yeah, do a bit of practice and stuff at home. Get up the fitness a little bit as well. So it's a strange world at the moment, but um, things haven't, I guess, changed too much for me. Obviously, there's no tournaments on at the moment, which is a little bit weird. But other than that, yeah, things are going okay.
Yeah, it's just all the extra free time. I think all us, pros are we just like, what do we do now? Obviously you've got your assignments you can bowl through. I've started my uni course. I'm kind of filling the time with that, and obviously this podcasting thing now. But it's been fun. I think everyone's kind of had the idea of trying to get their winter body ready for summer. That's kind of
Yes,
I know we're on
that's the goal.
yeah, I know Grace and I were on a
We'll
14
push back
week.
a little bit, but
Yeah, yeah. Well, all the sitting on the couch watching all the episodes, but it's been good fun. I think there's obviously an opportunity there to get better in all facets of your life. I know we're on a 14-week kind of sweat app. It's like I'm some bikini body
oh,
thing that I'm
nice.
working on, but I don't know if it's golf related, but my ball's starting to go a bit further and straighter, so I'll just keep going till I don't
Yeah,
know have a
keep
have
working
a
towards that
have a
bikini body.
BBG, I think it's called, but
Yeah, awesome.
yeah, so it sounds like isolation's been good for you. It's obviously gives you more time to spend with our partners. It's definitely a great time in life. Yeah, if you want to elaborate a bit more on that, that'll be a good place to start.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I guess same as you. Normally, we're so used to as golfers being away for a lot of the year. So, um, from a golfing perspective and probably a personal perspective, it's been good in the fact that I've been able to spend a bit of time at home the last probably couple of years. Well, year in particular, I've spent a little bit more time at home, but before that, I'd be away for quite a chunk of the year. So it's nice to see Melita a little bit, even though she's working at home. She's still pretty busy, but I guess just being at home and being able to do some of the day-to-day things that sometimes we miss out on a little bit as well. So
Yeah, you definitely
yeah,
see what
even like
all
yeah,
happens at the house, and I'm
feeding the
doing I'm doing more
dogs.
washing now, and yeah, feeding the cat,
Exactly.
cleaning the
Yeah.
cat litter, all those different things that
Yeah.
it's like, wow, it's like life's not too bad.
Exactly. Yeah. So being able to do a few of those things has been really nice. So
Oh, that's
um,
fantastic. Yeah, it
it's
seems
yeah.
a lot of people are taking positives out of this whole change. Hopefully, it will be back to a new normal sooner rather than later. The news isn't popular at the moment with all these widespread kind of things popping up, but I guess it'll pan itself out. Yeah, but it's an interesting time. Getting back to golf, where
Yes.
did where did it all begin for you? I can't even remember. I remember you telling me when we were juniors. I think I'm not sure where we met, but I don't. I'm still getting my head around Melbourne. But where did golf start for you? And yeah, you just progressed from there.
So golf for me started, well, first time I picked up a club, I was 6, and we were on a family holiday up in Brisbane, and we were staying at the back of a golf course. My dad was a keen golfer. He played on the weekends and stuff, and there's a little free golf clinic at the course near where we're staying. And Dad said, "Oh, would you like to go and have a try?" And I was like, "Okay, yep, sure." I was into pretty much most sports at that time, so happy to go along. And there was a kid there that was hitting balls up in the air, and I would just hit one after the other along the ground, And I was getting frustrated, and I was like, I want to be able to do what that kid's doing.
Yeah.
So after the holiday, we got back home, and Dad was a member at the local club, and he took me down there, and we got some cut down clubs, and I'd tag along with him on the weekend, and you try and jump on the back of his buggy and hitch a ride. And we always would go in for lunch afterwards, which I think was probably my inspiration for the first sort of couple of years going to golf with Dad.
Lunch with your dad
Afterwards.
after golf. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the way. Yeah.
He'd lure me in with the snack at the start and then lunch at the end. So that was me for the first couple of years.
Well, it definitely worked, right?
Yeah. So I'd turn up every Saturday with him. And then when I think I was 11, I joined at a little 9-hole golf course, which wasn't too far from home.
What was the course called?
I was called Strathallan Golf Club. So it was just a little 9-hole public course.
Okay, yeah.
Pretty much put like a donation into the bin, the donation bin before you tee off on a Saturday, and I'd pair up with 3 elderly members, and I think I was 11, and play 18 holes with them. And then from there, when I was 11 and a half, I joined Heidelberg Golf Club, and they changed the membership rules actually so that I could join there. So initially you had to be 12, but they changed it to 11 and a half, so I could go and play there. That's
funny. My going back to junior days, my first course I didn't join. It was like a donation. You put your little $2, and it was like a 9-hole national park golf course. Kind of went around the lakes and all those separate things. But the first course I joined, Sun City Country Club, you had to be 10. I think it was 10 or 11 to get an official golf handicap. And I have 2 other brothers that I'm the middle. So my younger brother was too young, but they made an exception for him to kind of. So we had enough juniors to play the pennant team, so the A grade could have a team. So it's nice that golf clubs make those exceptions, because juniors are the way of the future for golf, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was really nice that they did that for me. So then I'd play every Sunday with my dad or whoever for probably the next 6 or 7 years there. So it was a big part of my golfing journey.
Oh, nice. And yeah, obviously, I know a little bit about you, because we would have met. Would have been school sport, probably somewhere in the Vines. I think that's probably 16, 17. It was probably like after those 6, 7 years you played, and you like the gun amateur coming through, and all the hype that comes behind that. You're like, geez, I'm the best in my club, and then you're the best in your state, and then you start going on national levels, and you start weighing yourself up on how the other players and you match up, and you think, well, I'm pretty good at this. And, obviously Australia's like a hotly contested country for golf. If you're good here, you'll bode well, in the world. So it's like, what do I want to do next? And, there's obviously different pathways. We had Golf WA, which isn't like the VIS like you guys have. It's like, I spent a little bit of time there when I lived in Melbourne for, Victorian pennant for a little while when I was here, and I had the opportunity to spend, I think it was 6 months for one part of the year. And you guys definitely have resources like ridiculous. I think we bumped in together there as well, but like, it's just, if you want to talk about their facilities and how really changing the game is just, incredible.
Yeah. So I think so from when I was a junior playing at Heidelberg, I played pennant for them. And then I think I was about 13 when someone said to me, one of the ladies who were playing pennant, she said, there's this VIS golf program. You should look at, applying for it. And I really had no idea what it was. I was only like 12 or 13. And I ended up, I think I spoke to someone who knew something about it and got an application form and put my application in and ended up getting into the squad. So I was still in school at that time, and normally they wouldn't accept people who hadn't finished school. But again, very
more
nice
exceptions, yeah,
which was really good. So on a weekend, I would go, I think it was MGA at the time, I'd go down to MGA, and Dennis McDade was the head coach at the time. My dad would drop me off and I'd have an hour lesson with him. And then one day after school, I'd go catch the train into it was the Lexus Centre at the time, and do my gym program there. So, but yeah, the facilities that they had were awesome. Like they had a full, fully equipped gym with, everything that you could think of. And after your gym program, you'd hop in the ice bath, and, it was probably well ahead of its time compared to the access that other states had to these sort of things. So we were very lucky to have access to that. And also from like a learning point of view, how to, you know, manage yourself when you're playing professionally. Most professionals don't have access to that sort of
Yeah.
stuff, as we learned a lot
Yeah.
later on. But to have that time as an amateur was really important. Yeah.
Yeah, it's well, you know, this short time I spent, and he spent a lot more time than I did. And I was just blown away by, geez, they got all these, you know, it's like dietitians, and you had all these different rooms and specific exercises you had to do, and the recovery was ridiculous. Like they have that like plunge pool and all the different things, and then you go
Yeah.
play golf up the ice baths,
Yeah.
and kind of learn to love them. And yeah, so it was like, I think it was 2013, like the middle, just before I went away and kind of had my best amateur like year of my life. And it was like, geez, I progressed so much, because like we obviously don't have that stuff anywhere else in Australia, and it's just like, it's like a production line, the whole VIS.
Yeah, it really was. And I think you know, for a certain, well, from in my experience, that was really good. Probably up until I was about 19. And then when I was 19, I sort of started, it was a little bit of a production line. Like everybody did the same thing. Everybody, you know, same program, everybody sort of had the same golf swing. And it was almost a little bit like maybe too much, but I certainly learned a lot in that time.
Yeah, I think the systems that they have set up there definitely have a great opportunity for players to grow. I think it's very much a production line. Like in my mind, it's just like a FootJoy guy that kind of rolls.
Yeah.
They all swing it pretty much the same. They look really strong, and you know, don't get me wrong, all their results show that they, you know, as a team aspect, like every interstate series, it's the men and the women that win it most years. Like Western Australia just won I think it was last year, they won for the first time in 20 years, and it's like a fluke, you know, like the amount of players we've had through the teams over the years. But you know, you guys literally did that every year, well, every week for years, and that's why your team spirit and your, not production line. I gotta get away from that. It's not a production line, you know. Yeah, but there's you guys had Luke Mackey, that's a strength conditioning guy. He's obviously in Orlando now, kind of doing some work with Ryan Ruffles and Curtis Like. And then there's a few swing coaches. I'm not sure if Marty Joyce was in that at that time, but it was like
so
Darren Cole as well.
Yeah, I think Dennis McDade was the head coach when I first got in, and then I think Marty took over after Dennis left, and then Darren Cole was assistant coach the same years that I was in there with Marty. So yeah,
they're set up there, you know, obviously. They all see it feels the same in Western Australia. So I'm just trying to get the comparison, but it seems like a lot of players feel like they need to see an assistant or a head coach of a high association to make the team, and that's not always correct. It's, you know, if you're a good player, if you have the right talent, you're a good person, you will still make the teams. It might not seem like that with all the hoops you have to jump through and all the boxes you have to check, but you know, that's kind of my opinion on that.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think there's definitely a preference. Well, it seemed that way when I was in the system, that the preference was that, and understandably, I guess to a certain point, that the players can be monitored better if they're, you know, seeing a coach within the program that they're in. But I also think that, like you said, if a player's gotten to that point with a different coach, they should probably have the option to continue down that path, or at least work together to, you know, come up with the best option for the player.
The best option for the player for sure. Because a lot of people I play with over the years, I'll drop a couple of names: Nathan Holman, Jeff Drakeford. They're not playing anymore. It's crazy the amount of talent that's come through, and a lot of these players aren't playing. And I ask myself why. Like, and I think it's, you know, is it the workload at such a young age? Is it the pressures? Is it, and I can't really put my finger on it. I've got half an idea in my own mind, but you know, it's someone that was a part of the program for such a long time. I'd love to hear your opinion on that.
Well, yeah, I think personally, definitely the workload has a lot to do with it. I think it's a double-edged sword, because that workload, I guess, is something that's required to you know,
It's a
in
fine
some,
line, fine
for
balance.
some people it's, you know, they need it, that workload is required to get to the highest of heights like Tiger Woods, but then there's other people that, you know, they need more life balance. So
Yeah.
I think when you're a young kid and you've, you know, get into a program like this at like 14 or 15 and you're doing that for, you know, the next 5 or so years of your life, and then all of a sudden you go out and you play and there's not this, you know, cocoon of you know, people that help you book your flights and help you, you know, prepare your meals. It's quite overwhelming. I think,
Yeah.
well, personally for me, it was a bit overwhelming, and I think that's when people maybe realize that, hang on a second, this isn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. So
Mm-hmm.
I think, you know, a lot of girls that I've played with that have been really talented players have, you know, taken other career paths because it's just, you know, too hard really. Like there's not the support as an amateur when you're in these programs, when you're professional, and it's
Yeah,
just, yeah, it's just so hard.
it's interesting because it's like they they hold your hand for a long period of your amateur career, and they obviously help you out an immense amount, like
Mhm.
such a bit. When you turn professional, it's like bang, here's a bit of cash, good luck. You know,
Yeah.
that's what it
Yeah.
kind of looks like. I know it's not really like that,
Yeah.
but
Yes.
it's like as a player, you go, well, that's what it feels like. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
well, who like I don't know how to do my taxes. Who's going to? I want to get a management team. Like, and there's all these questions. Generally, you're a young 20-year-old and you're trying to start your career as a professional, and there's all these different thoughts in your head, and you're trying to get the right support people around you. I got lucky with my parents, and they kind of steered me in the
Mm,
right direction. But a lot of people, it's very overwhelming. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
it's just it's a big subject that hasn't really, you know, been addressed. You know, we have such
Mm.
good players here. We really need to, you know, convert that. It's like hitting 18 greens and shooting one over. It's like we need to do better. That's
What are we doing? Yeah, exactly.
well, that's what it looks like and feels like sometimes to me. But yeah, it's a weird one.
It is. Yeah. It's certainly, yeah. It's like practicing and then going to the course. You know, it's totally different sometimes.
Oh,
You can try and make it as, you know, close to what it is, but until you experience it, it's almost, yeah, it's hard. It's a hard one.
yeah, it's a hard one. So yeah,
Yeah.
you had that time in VIS, and then you
Yep.
made the decision to turn professional. And where did that kind of lead you? Like, were you thinking about bridging, or like what's go for it?
No, so the first probably 3 years as a professional, I would not have even considered bridging.
Yeah,
We did a program, a little bit of the traineeship back in the VIS. I remember Marty actually, which was a really good thing at the time. He wanted all of the golfers to do like a component of the traineeship so that we had something under our belt as well. So a lot of the other sports in the VIS, there was kids that were like rowers and they were doing degrees in you know, business and law, and then the golfers were all, you know, we just played golf. So that was one of the best things I think from my time in the VIS, that Marty got us to do the first, you know, component of the traineeship. So we had to like do assignments and hand them in. But when I finished that, I was just solely golf, and I wanted to go out and like be the best player that I could possibly be. So I didn't think about, you know, should I do a traineeship or anything. I just wanted to go and play really. So
get out into the big wide world and have a look.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So I turned professional late 2013. I think it was. Um, I'd had a good year that year. I played in the World Cup team with Sue and Minji. I think I won the Riversdale Cup same year that you did as
yeah,
well.
I remember that photo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And had a couple of other good performances. But so it was almost like I either turned professional or, you know, hang around for another year. But I was 23 and that felt like I was old enough to go out and have a crack. And yeah, so with that, help of Melita, my wife, and family, and I think it was, I can't remember, I think Sandy Jemison as well at the time said, the time's right to go and do that.
Yep.
So that was, the decision. And then looking back now, though, I feel like I probably should have done that a little bit earlier, because I turned professional the same year that Sue and Minji did. So it was almost like they were such good players that I felt almost a little bit inadequate when I did turn professional, because, they went off onto the LPGA and I sort of didn't.
It's tough to, benchmark yourself against other people. It's like, we're all running our own race here at our own pace. You're 23. Yeah. I look back at it now and think, well, I was way too young. Like for me, I was like way too young. I wasn't ready, like emotionally, to attack everything in that. You're different. You were kind of ready. We probably would have been ready earlier by the sounds of it, just to, get your window of opportunity of sponsorship or whatever it may be. It's a weird marketing game.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I was waiting. I was 23, and then the next year was the Eisenhower for us. It's like the world teams thing, and I was kind of like not a shoo-in to make it, but I was going to make it if I waited another year. And I had a few people around me saying, if you turn professional now, this is your highest marketable as a brand. Yes, your opportunity is to go right now, and you can have a bit of sponsorship for your first couple of years, where you can gain some experience and learn a bit over the those years. And I kind of learned a lot, got lost a bit, kind of got stuck in the States for a bit, and I definitely wouldn't take it back, because it wouldn't make me who I am today. But yeah, it's definitely a tough time. Like, you go through your highs and lows. Definitely had a lot of lows in that, and you kind of bounce back out of it. But it's a big decision to make at 23 for me. And looking back at it now as a 30-year-old, going, well, I've done that, and now I can actually get on with my life, it feels like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I do understand that. It's a really tough one. Like, you can never say exactly, I probably wouldn't have been ready emotionally either, because, you're so young at, 21, 22, but I feel like from, a potential sponsorship opportunity, it probably would have been better when I was, in the top 20 in the world as an amateur, rather than, waiting that extra little bit and turning pro at the same time as those two phenomenal players.
Well, I mean, geez, you're not a shy player yourself. I remember you killing it as an amateur. Like, seriously, like it's such a weird one. It's like, do you turn pro? Do you not? I don't know the answer. I know there's definitely a gap of education that's needed from the player, the coach. So many people come through the era. Like, you're a top 20 in the world, and what do you do? Like,
yeah. There's definitely no recipe for it, I don't think, unfortunately. But I mean, it's not something that I regret, because like you, it's made me who I am today. And without all those experiences, who knows where or what I would be. But I'm pretty happy with sort of where I'm at the moment. So
yeah, perfectly. So what'd you learn most the first couple of years? I wouldn't go there.
Well, it's a little bit different, I guess, for the girls, because we didn't have a full schedule. So I played in Australia, and then I went overseas and played some tournaments like in China, Taiwan, pretty much anywhere and everywhere that I could get a start. But the first few years, I got sort of used to traveling and, figuring things out myself a little bit. But I also realized how good you have to actually be to, earn a living playing golf. So, you play as much as you want in somewhere like China and Taiwan, but there's only so long you can do that for before you're going to run out of money, because the tournaments are just, unless you're winning every single week, unfortunately, there is no, like, you're basically paying your way to play. So there's no real possibility to, save up some money and, expand your horizons. You're just basically playing to get from one tournament to the other. So like there's no lead on to the, you know, LPGA tour from the China tour or anything like that. So you just play for experience and hope that that will, you know, when you get a bigger opportunity, hold you in good stead. But yeah, you got to be very, very resilient and very, very good.
Yeah, I think that resilience, you know, touching on that, it's just such a, it's like the backbone of every successful sports person. It's just, you've got to have it. It's just,
Yeah,
you go through
exactly.
so many, especially in those like, what is it, grazing years, you've kind of got to apply your craft, and you've got to, like, I got lucky. I had a couple of years to kind of, it wasn't really costing me anything, and I could kind of
Mm-hmm.
develop through that. I probably took a bunch of it for granted. Like, it's not like that for everyone, you know, a lot of people are grinders, and if you can grind out those first 5-6 years and get past that, then you're a different person, you're stronger because of it. And then if you can emerge from there and be like, well, I want to do this full time still, then you definitely love golf and you love this profession. But for a lot of people, you see them kind of fall off the wagon and they never play again. So it's crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I'm thankful. I still love playing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think isolation, we're kind of just getting back out into the world and playing a bit more golf these days. But if you're still playing winter in Melbourne on a midweek, you definitely love golf.
You do. Yeah. You're still a bit crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, still a bit crazy. I love the game, but we definitely have great courses down here. I'm kind of loving, you know, being here. Every week it feels like I play a top 100 course in the world. You know, we're very
Yeah. That's awesome. Are you a member anywhere at the moment, or?
Peninsula Kingswood. So I joined there
Yeah.
in December. So
Beautiful.
2 courses to. I kind of get over the north sometimes and be like, well, I got to have some fun on the south. It's so
Yeah.
crazy, especially because it's like one of the best courses in Australia. It's like, well, the south is pretty good, and
Yep.
got some fun over there. But
I remember
it's,
we played a Vic Amateur. I think I had a Vic Amateur final there many years ago, before they did all the changes, and yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful golf course.
oh, just the routing. Like I don't think they changed it at all. But
Yep.
I got out there because I played both before they did all the changes, and I didn't recognize a lot of the holes, like different tee spots, different elevation changes, and yeah, they nailed it. Well, they definitely spent enough money to nail it, but
Yeah.
they yeah, very very happy if they can survive this.
You should have joined there a few years earlier. You might have been able to go out for a few more years.
Well, maybe, yeah. But
Yeah.
the whole, if any club can survive COVID, hopefully it's PK and they can
Yeah.
build on what they've started. Yeah, it's crazy. So you travelled a couple of years playing pro, a couple of years playing pro.
Yes. Yeah. So I think this is my 5th year as a professional. So first couple of years played a lot in China and Taiwan, Hong Kong, wherever really, and then
Yep.
just the last couple of years I've played more sort of Australia. I played the European Q School a couple of times and the LPGA Q School a couple of times, and I got through the first stage. I think it was 2018, which was exciting, and then did sort of mediocre in the second stage. But there's just so many players that.
So what's your thoughts on Q School? Was that like Q Schools are just crazy? Like I think that they're just like the toughest weeks of the year. It's so cutthroat. It's like one
Yeah,
shot here and there. There's like
true.
for no crowds, no sound. It's like you can feel everything in the air. It's like horrific.
Exactly.
Like
Yep.
it's
Yeah,
who can still be standing at the end of it. That's kind of how I see it.
it really is. Yeah, I remember I've had good and bad experiences at Q School. So I think the first one I played in Morocco, 2000 and must have been 13, the end of 2013. I just had no idea what to expect, and I was so far away from home. The golf courses were completely different, and I was really nervous, obviously, as well. And I just didn't handle it very well and missed out getting to the second stage by a few shots. And then a few years later, went to LPGA Q School, and having had those experiences of the years prior, I was a little bit more settled and knew what to expect and played a lot better. And yeah,
It's
it was
weird. It's weird
better.
because because you're not like, most golf tournaments, you're just trying to win. So you go
Yeah.
out there, you're trying to win. In Q scores, it's like, well, I need to finish 1 to 25 and I'm fine.
Yeah.
It's
True.
like, how do you try tailor yourself? It's like, if you went out there and just tried to win the event, you probably loosen up a bit and just finish 12th and get through. It's so
True.
weird, but it's like, it's such an inordinate amount of an expense to go to a Q school. Most are. I'm not sure how much it is in the women's tours, but I'm sure it's the
Probably
same.
similar. Yeah. And
Cost
the
of
thing
traveling
too,
is the same as well.
yeah, the first year in particular, I was worried about, probably like a lot of golfers are, if I do get through, what am I going to do? Because how am I going to pay to go, travel around Europe for a year? So I think I had that in the back of my mind, which is obviously not ideal, but that was a big, it didn't allow me to sort of go out and play with freedom. I was a little bit, worried about that, which is, my fault for not probably planning as well as what I could have. But in hindsight, I would, probably have a little bit of a plan about, if I do get through, this is what I'm going to do and how I'm going to fund it.
It's funny. I was looking at like Japan Q School. Like I was thinking about going this year, kind of looking at, well, you can go to the second stage and there's obviously 4 stages there, and it's like, well, it's going to cost me 30,000, 40,000 for like the whole experience, and then you get through and then you get on the tour. It's like, well, the first year is going to cost you 50,000. It's like, well, I don't have that in the bank right now. So
Exactly. But
it's
I
like,
still want to be really
maybe I need a sponsor, but it's like, well, do you just build the bank up and then you get ready for that opportunity, or like plan for worst case scenarios? Like I like to kind of do that, like with the pro-ams. It's like, well, if I don't make any money today, it's okay because X, Y, Z.
See, this is all the stuff that you like learn the opposite of when you're an amateur. So you prepare for best case scenarios, but it's a bad thing to prepare for the worst. But unfortunately, as you get older, the reality is that there could potentially be a not an ideal outcome, and you need to be prepared for that. But
it's just covering all the contingency thinking of like, if that happens, I'm okay still. Like I think it should always lead into something being okay at the end result being not good. And as a professional, that's more apparent than as an amateur, because while I'm probably going to get like a reimbursement check at the end of the month, because all my flights are paid for, my food's paid for, and there's nothing to worry about. And it definitely loosens you up to play. But as a professional, most of us aren't lucky for the entirety of our career just to freewheel it. Go and have a good time. Think, well, I'm just going to hit driver every hole because if I lose a couple of balls, it doesn't matter. But here it's like, well, that double cost me $600 or whatever it may be. But
exactly, yeah, it's a bit more. The consequences are definitely a little bit higher, but it's a hard one because you can't think that way, obviously, but the reality is that it's there.
Well, it definitely feels like that as a professional. I think once you get used to dealing with that and like learning to cope with those pressures, I think you definitely deal with that like emotionally better as you get older. And I think most people don't have it early, unless they're a lot of really great people around them. Like you definitely have to grow into that and kind of walk without someone holding your hand all the time. And that's kind of like, you learn your own mistakes on your own. I'm definitely late to that. I'm kind of just, it's my first year out of home, like on a lease. It kind of feels like, well, I feel like a 19-year-old,
Exactly. Melita and I have conversations about this a lot because Melita grew up as one of 7 kids, and she did a lot of stuff at home, and early on moved out of home at 19 and got her own house, and completely opposite to like you or I, where we just play golf and focus on ourselves and learning all of this stuff, like
crazy.
How to rent a house and
going to like a home inspection, all these insurances, like
what is this?
Name on a lease. But it's definitely a learning curve. We all get it eventually. We obviously got it a bit later than some
rude
people.
Shock though.
Rude shock. So how'd you meet Melita? When did you meet her?
A funny story. So Melita well, I had just come back from a trip from overseas
Mm-hmm.
to America, and I had used an American SIM card in my phone while I was over there. And when I came back to Australia, my dad and sister picked me up from the airport. And when I turned my phone on, it wasn't connecting to like the 4G or 3G or whatever it was at the time. So Dad said, "Oh, we'll pop into the local Telstra store and we'll get them to fix it for you." So we went into the shop, and Melita was the girl working there. And I was like so tired because I've been on,
Jet lag life, yeah.
15-hour flight or whatever.
Mm.
And Melita was the girl that served me, and she was just talking, and I told her about my trip and stuff. And it was really weird because my dad was there and my sister was there. And when we left the shop, Dad said, "Oh, that girl's really nice. You should ask her out and see if she wants to go out for a coffee." I was like, "What, Dad? Like, no way. Like, it's so random. I'm not doing that." And anyway, we left the shop, and Dad's like, "No, I think you should do it." It was really funny because, this is the last thing I would expect my dad to say. And I said to my sister, "What do you think? Should I go back in there and do it?" And she was like, "Well, you don't really have anything to lose." So I mustered up the courage to go back into the shop.
Just takes a bit of courage, that's it.
I said, I had a bit of a pep talk from my dad and my sister, and I said, "I'm really sorry, Melita. What did I say? I said, my dad actually, he was not going to take me home until I asked you if you'd like to go out for a coffee." Because Dad had said, "I'm going to wait here until you ask her if she wants to go for a coffee." So I said, "Oh, Dad won't take me home until I ask you if you'd like to go for a coffee." And she looked really confused, and she's like, "What? Your dad wants to take me out for a coffee?" And I was so embarrassed. I said, No. Like, "I'd like to take you out for a coffee." And she said, "Oh, I'm not sure what to say." And I said, "Please just say no so I can leave." So she said, "Okay, yeah, no." So I walked out. I was so embarrassed. Like, it's like you've missed a 1-foot putt. Like, I was so embarrassed. And I went back, and Dad's like, "Oh, how'd you go?" And I said, "Yeah, no." Like, Melita said no, and went back to the car. And about half an hour later, I got a text from Melita saying that she was really sorry. She got embarrassed and she'd love to go for a coffee. So we went for a coffee, and 7 years later, the rest is history.
7 years later. Wow, what a geez, that bloody SIM card, eh?
No,
Changed
you
life.
can buy the SIM card.
Far out. The muster the courage. Jeez.
Yeah.
We do feel the stuff on the golf course, but geez.
Yeah. And I think actually a couple of weeks after I met Melita, I went up to the Port Macquarie Amateur, and I actually stayed with Gracie.
That's so funny because I
Yeah.
was telling Grace, I was interviewing you soon and I'll having a chat. And she goes, "Geez, I remember when they met. You played a Lake Macquarie Amateur up at Belmont, and I've never, she's played a bit of golf with you growing up over the years, and she's like, I'd never ever felt like this is the happiest I've ever seen, and like texting the whole week, and you just look so happy." And she said to mention that, like, whether before this conversation, but it's on the record now. But she said, "Yeah, you just look so happy," and that's all. Having a supportive partner is everything with this career path that we've chosen is so important.
Yeah, exactly. I think certainly before I met Melita, like I really struggled as a person, but Melita has really been able to lift me up as a person, and having her support is really I guess helped me develop as a person. So I'm very lucky. Yeah
it's like having that rock in your life. It's kind of, you have the opportunity to grow with them, and they're not going to judge. You can be the person that you're meant to be and not feel like there's any prejudice or anything like that. We both found that. We're lucky, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So very lucky.
Yeah, and I think touching on being a woman sportsman, it's tough, for men, but I can't imagine for women. It's an evolving space. There's the quality is not there yet. It's heading in the right direction. I think we have such a long way to go as the human race. Seeing what's happening around the world right now, and it's definitely a topic that needs to be spoken about. I'd love to hear your opinion on that.
Yeah, I think the world is obviously changing and progressing. which is a really good thing. I think I actually read an article from Mel Reid last week, which was about women equality in golf, and also her story coming out at a later age in golf, and just the struggles that she's faced. And I, totally different, but I could relate to that, because I think sometimes in golf, being a woman, especially if you're not, straight and a poster girl, it can be a little bit of an intimidating situation sometimes to be in. But I think it's definitely getting better. I think it's still got a long way to go, but
there's just a crazy There's just a crazy stigma around it. Like I've grown up, with just nothing of that. It's just my dad's a Maori. They're all dark and they're all culture, and I never have Asian uncles and aunties, and it's never been an issue for me. And like anything, I've got friends that are whatever it may be, and it's just annoying from my point of view. It's like, why can't people just understand, that obviously understand what they want to understand, or what they've grown up knowing that's normal. It's like, we should just love everyone.
Yeah, that would be good, but unfortunately, there's a few people that didn't get that memo. But I think, I'm totally the same. Like, I just want everybody to get along and feel comfortable, especially in a setting like golf. It's got so many like positive things that people can learn, life lessons, and I think that if everybody could come to a golf course and feel comfortable being there, it would be an even better game than it is.
Yeah, because we can all appreciate a good shot, whether it's from a guy with no shirt on or a guy that's walking with no shoes on. It's kind of, that you hit a good shot and you're coachable and you've got a smile. So everyone should get the first good opinion from the start, not a prejudice on that. And I think it's me trying to just sprinkle my dust on kind of the world, but I'll just keep doing my best. I don't think we're there yet, but I think as a person, it can be challenging knowing that it's not like that, like mentally. Like for me, it's kind of, well, why can't they accept that? Like, I know that's been the biggest struggle for me, for my health wise, mentally. And I try to see someone every month just to catch up. I kind of,
me too, actually.
I'm 6-7 weeks now. I'm just I don't know. I'm a shit ton into it, but like I go every month, just have a yarn about just trying to figure out who I am, and just trying to.
I think.
Yeah, like you definitely feel like, oh, well, that makes sense, and I'm just trying to figure out. But I don't think enough people, go and even speak to someone. They hold it all in.
Yeah, well, for me, I guess, like I struggled a lot with anxiety as a kid, through playing golf and through being sort of thrown into elite sport quite young. I always struggled a lot with anxiety, and I started seeing someone, I think, when I was probably 13 or 14, and I've been pretty much going regularly since, monthly or every couple of months since then. So it's a massive, it's almost like going to golf practice, like something that you got to stay on top of to keep functioning mentally well.
Yeah, it's a useful tool that a lot of people don't use. Like it's just such a like wrap around. It's like, oh, you're seeing a mental person. Like, what's wrong with you? You look happy. It's like, well, there's a lot of other things I'm dealing with emotionally that I don't understand, and I need to know what happened. Was it something in my childhood? Like, there's so many different like things that you don't quite understand at that age, and they stay with you for such a long time. And it's just ironing that out over the time and massaging it, because they're so draining. Like I go in for an hour. I'm not sure how long you go in there for.
An hour.
And it's like I clear my whole day. I sit at home and that's it, because I'm mentally done.
Yeah, that's good. I think too, like for me doing that, and also a couple of years ago, I started seeing Ian Triggs, who's a golf coach up in Queensland.
Yep.
So the two things together, because a lot of my anxiety came from golf and not really understanding what I was doing at golf, and if I didn't play well, I didn't really understand why, or if I hit a bad shot, I didn't understand why, and it sort of built up a lot of anxiety for me And then that sort of manifested into like just general life stuff. So the last couple of years I've been coached by Triggsy, and he's helped me quiet my mind a lot, because now I actually understand like what I'm trying to do. And, you know, if something goes wrong, this is the reason why, which is, you know, helped me settle, I think, just in general life as well, which sounds a bit weird, but it has.
Yeah. I think a lot of people's technical stuff, it's like you need to be at peace with it. Like, you know, you need to know why it's going left. You need to know why, like your own version of it to able to process it. I think if you just go years on years and just being a feel player or whatever it is, and, you know, your talent kind of taking you that far and not really understanding that there is big loopholes in that. I think you put a bit of money on the line, you turn professional, you'll definitely find out where those loopholes are. You know, I did.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think a lot of people quite understand that. You kind of have to go through it to be like, shit, it can't be across the line at the top, or like, if I mess my
happen.
if I mess my rhythm up on my putting, I'm gonna miss a short one, whatever it may be. There's so many different things. Like I got millions of things going on in my head with that, but just being at peace with it, you know, and just growing up as a person, you know, dealing with the pressures of performing. You know, we're in a performance-based occupation. You know, I was trying to explain to, you know, the pro-ams we play and all the things, and the guys like, geez, you've got the luckiest job in the world. And I go, yeah, it's pretty good. Get to play golf all the time. But like every year, so I play my one-day pro-am events, and, you know, this score gets paid today. If you're one above that, you don't. And they're like, oh, that doesn't seem fair. And I'm like, well, imagine you play your whole year, you play your 10, 12 events, whatever it may be on the tour, or 15, and at the end of it, if you aren't inside the top 60, you have to go to a performance review for a week to see if you have a job next year. And I'm like, well, that sounds awful. And I was like, imagine your job as an accountant or whatever it is, and you haven't hit certain KPIs and you've got to go to pass your exam again. Like, good luck with that. No one will want to sign up for that. And it's a crazy, like, you try to explain it to those people and they go, why would you want to do it? And it's like, well, I love golf, and I feel like there's an opportunity here to, you know, grow into that. It's crazy.
Yeah, you definitely got to, a lot of people don't understand the fine line between, you know, going back to Q school and, you know, winning the pro-am, or it's such a, sometimes it's just such a small, you know, thing that I think if you're at peace, you know, well, you know, as best as you can be with everything, it certainly helps you a little bit more.
Yeah, I've touched on a few of these podcasts about, like, if you're at peace with a lot of things off the golf course, your golf course, you know, play is going to be so much better. I think you've got to deal with that stuff so early, like, because you can't just go out there and play well. Your world's falling apart outside of it. It's just doesn't
exactly. Yeah, I think it helps you accept things better. Like, you know, if you get a bad break and you're okay with everything else, then you're more likely to accept it well. if you get a bad break and you're not having a good time, you're you know, it's not going to be a great outcome generally.
Yeah, it's funny. You play obviously you play with a few amateurs and these pro-ams, and you see just how they deal with things. It's like, you would be so much better off if you just
took it on the chin and got on with it.
Just got on with it. How you pretty much you live your life. You're not taking this into your golf. Like all these successful, like, businessmen and stuff, or women, or whatever it may be, and you go, well, just
it's golf. I don't know why.
Golf, and you should know this because you're successful, and like, they think it's something funny. Else. And
people carry on a lot at golf. Like, I've played with people that they're lovely as soon as you know, go in and have a drink with them, but when they're on the golf course, they'll crack it, or they'll, you know, yell at their playing partners or break a club.
I think everyone's just getting a bit like stuck in a cage with no footy on or anything like that. They can't yell at something. I think that's
potentially.
I think that's just the Australian way. We've got to have something to yell at, and it's kind of, whether it's driving a car, and I don't know. That's me
Yelling at other
anyway.
people. Yeah.
I don't know
We can do it
anyone.
for Melbourne.
Oh yeah, well, just the lanes are smaller here, and trams and all sorts of things. But I'm
Yeah.
starting to become that person that actually does that to people. Sorry, everyone, I'm kind of pissed off on the way. But
Yeah. You found the horn.
yeah, but WA is just such a sleepy town. Like everyone drives under the speed limit, sits in the right
Yeah.
lane. It's like, get out of the way.
The road rage.
I got places to be and things to do.
Yeah. Wait till
Yeah.
you're running 5 minutes late.
Yeah, seriously. So what's post COVID? What's the outlook for Grace at the end of 2020?
Well, I'd like to continue working on my fitness stuff. I've got a good friend up in Queensland who's been helping me, Tony Attridge. He's been helping me with a little bit of gym stuff, so I've been able to do that at home at the moment. So continue to get fitter, finish off my bridging course.
Yeah, so we didn't even touch on your bridging. Geez.
Yeah.
So you're doing your bridging now. So you played a few years playing golf. Obviously still love golf after traveling. You haven't quit like other people and done something else.
Yeah.
You're looking getting into the coaching realm. There's not many women coaches out there. We definitely need more of them, to be more relatable at golf clubs.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so through the bridging, I started doing a little bit of coaching, and I've just really enjoyed it. Like, I think I've always liked helping people, but through golf, it's a perfect way to do it. So I'd still like to play like some pro-ams and over the summer play, the bigger events. But I think there's just not the opportunity for me at the moment to, especially with the COVID stuff, say I'm going to just go back to playing, full time. So I think if I can do some coaching and develop the skill of becoming a good coach as well, I found that it takes a little bit of pressure off playing as well. So when you do get out to go and play, it's like, well, it's not the end of the world if you have a bogey or you don't have the greatest round of your life. You still got those people that want to come for a lesson the next day. So it's been really good for me. It's helped me simplify my own, golf game. And you see a lot of people come in and they're like, I've been watching YouTube videos and, I've learned that, you do these 5 things, and I'm like, oh, no. Like, you don't need 5 things. You just need one. And it's reinforced to me that, we make it a little bit too complicated, something that Triggsy's been telling me for a long time. But I think until you see it, firsthand from other people, that it reinforces that, keep it simple is a good principle with golf.
Yeah, it definitely resonates in a lot of sports. It's there's so much information out there for like the local punter. It's just you get so much, like, it's crazy that they'll spend so much money to get your car service, every 3 months, but they don't want to pay for a golf lesson. It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's like, if you want to get, they're like, no, I'll work it out myself. I just watch this. It's like, no. If you get a clear plan for 3-6 months and you like actually follow it, you'll become a better golfer. That's proven. Like, it's proven with heaps. Like, you just see it. You're like,
yeah.
It's like, why won't you invest in yourself? Like, you'll go to your gym every week and probably not, you just pay for it, but like you're not going to invest in yourself. I struggle with that thinking. That's probably why I'm not in coaching, I guess.
Yeah, true. But everyone that I've touch wood coached so far has been really nice, and it's been rewarding. You get a few people in that are really frustrated with the game at the start, and you give them a couple of things to focus on, and then towards the end, they're hitting them way better and they're happy, and it's a good feeling. So
yeah, I think just helping people in general, there's no better feeling, whether it's whoever it is. But going back to your just simplifying your method, I think the more you actually, if you could teach someone it, you're ingrained in that, and there's so much to say for that.
Exactly, yeah. And which is really, I'm so grateful to Triggsy, because he's, when I was a kid, I really didn't have any technical instruction. The professional that I was coached by, Brennan Green, he was very simple and just let me, sort of be a kid and play golf. And then when I did get into the VIS, it became a little bit more technical, and I didn't really understand a lot of it, so got a little bit lost in it. And then towards, a couple of years later, I met Triggsy, and he just simplified it all and, said, this is what you need to do. Cause and effect. If you keep doing what you're doing, this is what's going to happen. The reason you hit this shot is because of that. And it was so simple. And that's what I'm going to try and do with my coaching as well. Like, give people a couple of things to focus on, and that is it. Like, there's no need to go and like reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, it's horses for courses. Most amateurs will get a lot out of just a few tip, or one tip or two, just kind of one basic thing that they can get better at. Most of it's set up from what I see from the outside. And
yes, yeah.
A lot of people. No, I'm not there yet. I still love playing, so I love that aspect and the competitive nature.
Yeah.
We get pretty hotly contested Tuesday games down in Melbourne. Yes. Kind of gathering interest. We're trying to, it's your money games are going up now, and it's kind of like we're trying to keep it hush hush so people just can't get in. It's like,
okay, I'll get in line.
Yeah. Seriously, there's like one guy said to me, "Oh, I want to be first reserve," and I said, "Geez, man, like you just need to relax." But yeah, no, it's been good fun to have the time to actually play socially. But coaching for me, I'm not there yet. I may be later. I won't rule it out, but I've kind of got a few other things on my plate that I'm interested in right now.
So. Yeah, golf wise or?
Oh, well, I'm doing a bit of uni. So I was telling you before about the uni course I'm doing, this podcasting, and then pretty much I try players 2-3 times a week just to kind of that social aspect. Like I just love being out there, using my initiative. Normally it just sits there. So
yeah. Do you think you'll go back to, will you play tournaments and stuff?
Well, our outlook is for October. They're hopeful for that to happen. Hopefully I can speak to someone on the phone about that in the next little bit to see where they're going, because looks like they just keep pushing back events, but they're doing the right thing. All the precautionaries in place to get us out there safely. Hopefully they take the foam and the flag out of the hole, because it's...
You're not a fan?
No, I don't like seeing a goalkeeper in the way. I cut the short putts I hit lately. I just hit it way too hard, and I keep watching it hit the flag and kind of try and miss, and I don't like...
It's weird with the pin in, isn't it? Well, obviously never really grew up.
We're traditionalists, yeah.
Yeah, so I'd always take it out, and it's it is weird, but I'm kind of adapting because it's kind of the new normal now, but it's still weird. Yeah,
it's crazy. So where can people come and see you for a lesson? What course are you at?
So I'm just working at Altona Lakes Golf Club, so you can always pop in there. But I'm hoping that, similar to you, like, we'll get some events up on the Australian tour over the summer and be able to play in some pro-ams and some of the bigger events as well. So fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. I think golf, a lot of people I speak to about golf has gathered interest because it's one sport you can actually social distance, and has like that outside element. Golf is booming again, it feels like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. At all the public courses, there's heaps of people. I drive past a couple, and they've been full. The car parks have been full the last few times I've been past them. So it's definitely a good thing for social golf.
Well, yeah, fingers crossed that kind of converts into a few sponsors for a few pro-am events and bigger events for us. But fingers crossed. So. That's kind of it. I'm not really sold on it. Like, I'm not sure. Like, I think we're all kind of just waiting with this whole COVID thing. It's a crazy time to be alive. We'll look back on this one day and think, wow, we actually lived through that time. Yeah. Unemployment rate was at 15%. It feels like it's going up to. Sorry, I mean, that's America, wrong country.
Yeah, no, it's definitely thrown everybody a little bit. We've all had to adapt, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Adapt and kind of get better. And that is a lot to say about this year. And whoever's done it the best is going to come out of the end of this, with their best foot forward.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's been really fun talking to you, Grace. This is kind of...
been good.
we kind of have like a short version of this on a putting green before a pro-am, but it's actually been nice to sit down and have a full-blown conversation about whatever we want. We had a few topics to talk about tonight that kind of spread a bit of light on things that have happened in the past with different organizations and how it is transitioning from amateur to professional and struggling with all sorts of personal things. Like I've dealt with lots of things, you don't really talk about it too much. You're trying to talk about it a bit more private, closed door kind of stuff, and you deal with it that way. But it's been really nice.
Yeah, no, thank you. Likewise. I feel like, even though we've had different sort of pathways, I think that there's a lot of similarities as well. So
yeah, for sure. I always like to wrap this up with a question. It's like yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know. I need to name it something. I'm going to start naming it dealer's choice or the one. I'm not sure. It's a dealer's choice. It's like you get one question. I kind of like one question that's not going to incriminate me or something, but it's kind of that's kind of where I'm going with it. Kind of put me on the spot and see where I end up. But yeah, I like to tell the interview just, yeah, that's a question, and then I'll try and answer it as best as I can.
Okay, so I'm asking you a question.
Yeah, if you like. Yeah, you can skip it if you want. No, don't do that.
No. Well, I think I wrote one down earlier, but it's probably not. Let me just find it.
Oh wow, you've actually prepared for this.
Notes. Yeah.
Oh, good on you.
But you've probably already answered it. I wrote, "What are your plans going forward with golf and life?"
Golf is such a broad question. Well,
Yeah,
I've got all these plans. Like I've kind of put all the plans in place, but similar to you, trying to get fit. Trying to add another skill. I've always wanted to go to uni. I'm adding that in now. This podcasting thing, I think, such a great segue into a lot of things in this digital space we live in. It's definitely, we need to shed more light into that in Australia. Like I've spoken a lot about it. There's a lot of talent in Australia with, golfers. It's crazy. It's like these Tuesday games I'm playing, the quality of golf is ridiculous. Like I've played on a few different tours around the world, and it's like, well, that's not much different to anything else I've seen.
Yeah.
Like the product is amazing. I think future outlook, hopefully these events kick up. I'm going to continue doing this course part-time for the next 5-6 years, or however long it takes. It'll probably take me 10, who knows, but I'm going to stick it out. I definitely want to add that skill to my life, so by the time I'm 40, I've got something I can fall back on, or whatever it may be. But yeah, and see where this podcasting goes. But I'd like to go to a Q school eventually, when save up a bit of money to kind of actually, when you do get your card, you can actually go and do it properly.
Yes.
Yeah. I think just doing it properly, once you actually get onto it, I've kind of had all these experiences.
You could take Grace caddy.
Yeah, well, she's a great caddy. She
would be.
She caddied for me at the New Zealand Open, and before that she caddied at the Vic Open, and she said, "Your bag's too heavy. You need a smaller bag." And I said, "I've got a carry bag."
Yeah.
So I bought one of these. I bought one of these Jones bags.
Yes. Yeah.
It's super tiny bag, like it weighs 4 or 5 kilos, and then I bought it at PK because they just sell them, because it's a lot easier to walk the golf course than push around it, because just the green complexes are crazy. But yeah, so bought that, and then I remember bringing it home one night. She goes, "Oh, perfect, that's fantastic." So she's like, "You get."
So it doesn't rain.
Yeah, if it rains, we're done. But it's like one. She's like, you can have one pocket, and that's it. So New Zealand, she's kind of like the master of the bag and the gatekeeper.
That bag in New Zealand.
Yeah, like literally I'm just like, whatever. Like I want to. Like I'm still, like, I get stuff from Callaway and stuff, but there's no contractual stuff with that. So I was just like, well, I love this bag. I really like a Mackenzie Walker bag, but they're just out of my price range right now. They're just so expensive. But like that's kind of like a bag you get for the rest of your life. There's a few other models of it. Like I heard of this McDonald brand. It's kind of similar, but it's just this real old school. I don't even know how to explain it. Kind of just looks like Ben Hogan days.
A little Titleist pencil bag that I use sometimes, but it's not quite big enough for all the 14 clubs, so they all sort of get like jammed together.
Well, just take them out. Take them out and use 6 clubs and see how you go.
True. Yeah, I'll have to do that.
Yeah, but that's a good way to practice, actually. Kind of take out your lob wedge. That's what I tell juniors. Kind of see if you can chip with other clubs in the bag.
Yeah, it's a waste of a club.
Yeah, you've got 14 clubs to like use all of them. That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be a different game. Yeah, take out hybrids and take out the lob wedge, and
No one
we'll
would
play
play
golf.
golf. No, okay.
Yeah.
No, it's
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
And the numbers.
Golf's. We'll go back to persimmon or something like that. But yeah,
Yeah,
these big-headed drivers are just crazy. Like a miss hit still goes straight. It's just,
exactly. Yeah.
well,
But one thing
what
I learned in
you go, sir.
one thing I did learn in through the bridging stuff is how small the sweet spot of a driver is, even with the big ones. It's like tiny.
Is it really?
Yeah,
I've
the
still got hope
actual
that I can use the whole thing.
the actual like sweet spot is like half of 5 cent piece or something. It's tiny.
Yes. So I had a really funny conversation with like you go to a few bigger events and there's like they got Brett Vans there and all that stuff, and you kind of go, where's the sweet spot? Where's the best place I want to hit this thing? And majority of the time, weirdly, it's like it's a lot higher than you think on the face with like driver, and it's like for a right hander, it's slightly to the right in the toe. It's crazy.
Really? Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and I know like I think it's Ping Golf Clubs. It may be Ping Golf Clubs. It's slightly in the heel. Nuts.
Wow. There you go. So if you're centering them, you're not on.
Yeah, it's like yeah, it's someone might correct me on that, but that's kind of what I learned over the years. Like, yeah, like
Yeah,
a high top toe is like it's whether the gearing effect kicks in, and that's really technical.
Yeah.
But kind of these big-headed drivers just keep going straight, whether you hit them in the middle or not. You kind of hit them in the right area.
Yeah, you only have to be within the ballpark, and it will, unless there's some
They
dramatic.
should just roll it back. I think kind of go back to persimmon.
Almost be kind of like fun to roll it back and just play.
It would bring a lot of pure ball strikers back into it.
Yeah, like proper skill. Not taking anything away from today, but I think it would be cool to see.
Well, yeah, you go from pure skill to like all the classical days to kind of where we're at right now with Bryson DeChambeau just hitting off his feet, which is a weird look for golf. It's a weird way to go. Maybe that's just the American way.
Yeah, exactly. But like, he's obviously. It's good that he's got the right people around him, because a lot of people I feel over here would probably say, "What are you doing? Like, you shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be doing that." Like.
Yeah, it's funny. I played a Argentinian Open at the Jockey Club. It's like a Mackenzie design golf course. It's like pure, like really one of my favorite courses in the world. Like really, really good golf course. And he got an invite as an amateur. And I remember watching him hit on the range. Like he just kind of skinny kid. Well, like not like real skinny, but he kind of hit it nice, hit it high, hit it straight. It wasn't anything crazy. Like it didn't really look. And now it's like this bulked up Hulk looking guy. It's just it's
like
a new look for. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely done a lot more than most people in isolation. It looks like.
True. Yeah, but did you see the tweet the other day where someone was like, Bryson's put on 25 to 30 pound or whatever, and who was it? Gary Woodland's taken off the same amount, and they're both trying to get better. This is how like weird golf is. So
it's whatever book someone's read, thinking, well, I need to get leaner and fitter. I need to put more. Exactly. I think Bryson's whole thing is more mass and speed equals more power, or something like. I don't know the equation, but he's just kind of he's like Mr. Scientist or whoever he may be. He might have worked out the formula, and we're just a couple of years behind. But I don't know. I don't think I'll be doing that. I just want to. Look kind of healthy.
Yeah.
Well, I saw talking about like memes and tweets and stuff. I saw a thing. It was like Jordan was like it was Dustin Johnson was like, what have you been doing in isolation? He was like, well, I haven't been doing much. Rory was, I've been working on my short games in, and Bryson was just like, well, I ate Brian Harmon. That's what I said. I was like, far out. That's good. And it looks like he just.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's not the look I want to see for golf, but he's on to something different. It's a
different look for golf, but
who knows? It might be the answer.
The norm.
Yeah, the new YouTube clip. That's the
exactly
hot tip of the week that everyone seems to jump on.
Bulking up.
Yeah, so everyone go and see your PGA professional. That's kind of one little closing thing on that. Everyone should try gain and learn something every day through golf. You know, it's like
Exactly, yeah.
it's not because you didn't keep your head down and all those bloody things that just
Oh,
don't.
no. No,
God,
not at
yeah,
all. Actually
yeah.
hit the ball better when you lift it up, I feel.
Well, there you go. Well, we'll
Yeah.
leave it at that. Lift your
Yeah.
head up then. Lift your head up, or stay in your tilts
You've got
and
to be at the right time, though.
stay in your tilts and lift your head or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's
That
been
was
really
really
fun, Grace.
cool. Yeah,
Really,
no, thank you.
really happy we
Been
could.
good to chat.
Yeah, glad we could catch up and shed a bit of light on a few things. And I think a lot of listeners will enjoy this episode. It kind of was a lot of fun for me to interview another woman. It's
Thank you.
different,
Yeah.
different to the guys. You kind of like guys. I don't know. It's like a weird locker room thing. Girls, it's like, all right, I better say the right thing. Geez, I don't
Yeah.
know. It's
No,
like,
you've
geez,
done
Brady.
well.
It's like Brady, just relax, far out. But no,
You've
it's
done very well.
no, thank
Hopefully.
you.
Yeah.
No, you
No, it's
have you nailed it. But really, really great chatting to you. I'm sure we'll do it again in person, hopefully soon when events get announced. But yeah, until then, I hope you have a safe isolation and get lots of golf lessons.
Thanks, Brady. Same to you. And put me down as second reserve for your Tuesday comp.
Done.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, bye.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Bye.